Imagine a land where jaguars slink through pristine rainforests, where Caribbean rhythms mingle with Dutch colonial echoes, and where a vibrant mosaic of cultures brews a spirit as untamed as its jungles. Suriname, South America's smallest sovereign nation, is a hidden gem pulsing with life, a place where the Suriname River weaves through emerald wilderness and a resilient people craft a future from a tapestry of indigenous African, Asian, and European roots. From the vibrant markets of Paramaribo to the untouched heart of the Amazon, Suriname is a story of diversity, survival, and quiet ambition. Let's plunge into its landscapes, history, culture, and soul, unveiling a country that thrives in the shadows of giants. Suriname's geography is a compact marvel. Covering 163,820 square kilometers, it's dwarfed by neighbors Guyana, Brazil, and French Guiana, with a 386-kilometer Atlantic coastline. The interior, blanketing 80% of the land, is pristine rainforest, part of the Guiana Shield, one of Earth's oldest geological formations, hosting 5,000 plant species, 700 birds, and 200 mammals, including howler monkeys and giant armadillos. The Suriname, Saramacca, and Kapaname rivers carve through this jungle, feeding wetlands and savannas. The coastal plain, where 90% of the population lives on just 10% of the land, is a fertile strip of mangroves and mudflats, reclaimed by Dutch engineering. The Brokopondo Reservoir, a 1,560 square kilometer artificial lake, powers 70% of the nation's electricity via hydropower. The Juliana Top, at 1,230 meters, is the highest peak, nestled in the Sipaliwini Savanna. Suriname's tropical climate averages 27 degrees Celsius, with 2,200 millimeters of rain split between two wet seasons, April through August and November through February, making floods a coastal risk, but nourishing biodiversity. This geography has shaped Suriname's story for millennia. Humans arrived 10,000 years ago with Arawak and Carib peoples fishing rivers and cultivating manioc. By 1499, when Spanish explorers sighted the coast, 15,000 indigenous lived here. Dutch colonization began in 1667, after trading New Amsterdam, which is now New York, with the British. Sugar plantations powered by 50,000 African slaves by 1800 defined the economy, alongside smaller Portuguese Jewish estates. Maroons, escaped slaves, formed autonomous communities in the interior, like the Saramacca and Indiuka, whose descendants number 120,000 today. Independence in 1975, after 308 years of Dutch rule, came under Johan Pengel, but political instability followed. A 1980 coup led by Desi Bouterse ushered in a military regime, with the 1986-92 interior war against Maroon rebels killing 500 and displacing 10,000. Bouterse's return as president from 2010 to 2020 stirred controversy, with convictions for drug trafficking and the 1982 murders overturned in 2023. Chan Santoki, elected in 2020, faces an oil boom, with 2 billion barrels discovered offshore since 2019, promising wealth but sparking environmental fears. Suriname's 631,825 people, based on a 2023 estimate, are a vibrant kaleidoscope. The 2012 census shows 27.4% Indo-Surinamese, descendants of Indian indentured laborers, 21.7% Maroon, 15.7% Creole, which is mixed African-European, 13.7% Javanese, 13.4% mixed, 7.6% Amerindian, including Carib, Arawak, and Trio, and 1% Chinese and white. Dutch is the official language, spoken by 60%, but Sranan-Tongo, a Creole tongue, unites all, with 37% fluent. Hinduism at 22%, Christianity at 48%, and Islam at 13% coexist, with indigenous animism strong among Maroons and Amerindians. Paramaribo, housing 240,000, is the cultural and economic hub, its wooden colonial buildings and Waterkant Street, buzzing with vendors selling roti and palm. New Nickerie and Albina, smaller towns, reflect rice and maroon trade. Family is sacred with multi-generational homes common. Cricket and soccer thrill. Paramaribo's Andre Camperveen Stadium hosts 7,000 fans cheering for Inter Moengotapo. Education is improving with 94% literacy, but rural schools serve only 70% of Amerindian kids. Surinamese warmth shines, offering strangers a glass of orgeade or a dance to Kaseko music. Culture is really Suriname's heartbeat. Music here blends Kaseko, which is a Maroon Creole rhythm with brass and drums, together with Indian chutney and Javanese gamelan. Keti Koti, the festival celebrating slavery's abolition on July 1st, draws something like 20,000 people to Paramaribo, filling the streets with dances and feasts. Diwali and Fagua light up Hindu communities, while Maroon Awasa dances honor the ancestors. Literature, from Cynthia MacLeod's plantation novels to Edgar Cairo's Sranan poetry, keeps probing identity. Food is honestly a fusion feast. Roti, that flatbread with curry, is Indo-Surinamese comfort. Pam, a cassava chicken casserole, is Creole. And moxie meti, mixed meats with rice, shows off Javanese flair. Busi nanga sopi, those jungle soups with wild game, feed Maroon villages. Rice, with about 200,000 tons grown every year, and fish like bang bang, really sustain diets. Dawet, a rosewater drink, cools off those humid days, while Borgo rum, distilled from molasses, keeps the parties going. Markets brim with soursop and maracuya, and Maroon wood carvings fetch up to $1 million in exports. Traditional healers, or bonuman, blend African and Amerindian rites, curing with herbs and rituals. Economically, Suriname is, well, at a crossroads. Its $4.1 billion GDP in 2023 is growing at just over 2%, driven by oil, gold, and alumina. Offshore oil, which is expected to hit 428,000 barrels a day by 2028, promises to triple the GDP, led by companies like Total Energies and ExxonMobil. Gold, mined at Rosebel, yields 400,000 ounces yearly, but illegal mining pollutes rivers with mercury, affecting 30,000 Amerindians. Bauxite, which once made up 30% of exports, has declined, with alumina now at 1.2 million tons. Agriculture, rice, bananas, shrimp, adds $500 million with 80,000 tons of bananas exported. The Surinamese dollar, or SRD, stands at 32 to the US dollar and faces 36% inflation, which is actually down from 55% in 2020. Poverty still afflicts 40% of the population, with 25% living below $2.15 a day, and it's worst in Maroon and Amerindian areas. Paramaribo's trade, including $1 billion in Chinese goods, thrives, but smuggling costs the country $200 million a year. Unemployment is 8.6%, with youth unemployment at 20%. Oil wealth is funding roads and hospitals, but corruption, which scores 40 out of 100 on Transparency International's 2023 index, still siphons off millions. Politically, Suriname is, a fragile democracy. The 1987 Constitution ensures elections, but Bouteflika's shadow still looms. His 2020 loss ended a decade of populist rule. Santoki's VHP-led coalition is pushing anti-corruption, but protests in 2023 over fuel prices and inflation shook Paramaribo. Maroon and Amerindian land rights, still unresolved for 50,000 people, keep sparking clashes, with 200 disputes active right now. Freedom House scores Suriname 79 out of 100, praising free elections but pointing out judicial bias and 3 journalist attacks in 2023. The CARICOM trade bloc is strengthening ties, but Venezuela's Essequibo claim is putting some indirect pressure on the borders. Ex-posts are full of oil optimism, but also complaints about power outages and the 400 homicides in 2023, with Paramaribo's robbery rate at 600 per 100,000. Tourism is Suriname's, secret weapon. The Central Suriname Nature Reserve, which is a 1.6 million hectare UNESCO site, draws 15,000 visitors for jaguar treks and Raleigh-Vallen's 400 bird species. Paramaribo's Fort Zeelandia and the St. Peter and Paul Basilica, the America's largest wooden church, really captivate history buffs. Galabee's beaches are where nesting leatherback turtles come ashore, seen by 5,000 visitors every year. Maroon villages like Santigran offer Kaseko dances and river trips. Of course, there are risks. Urban crime and malaria, with 2,000 cases in 2023. But the locals' warmth, sharing palm or a Sranan song, really enchants visitors. X raves about Brownsburg's waterfalls and maroon crafts, but also warns about unpaved roads and pickpockets. Suriname's challenges are stark. Inequality fuels tension, with 60% of Maroons in poverty. Deforestation, at 0.2% yearly, threatens 15% of forests, endangering biodiversity. Health lags, infant mortality is 19 per 1,000, and 20% lack clean water. Climate change brings coastal flooding, risking 80% of the population, and droughts cut rice yields 10%. Corruption drains $100 million yearly. Yet Suriname shines. Women's cooperatives export $500,000 in cassava products. Conservation protects 12% of land. X celebrates Suriname's jungles and oil hopes but laments crime and power cuts. Suriname is a paradox, small yet vast, tranquil yet turbulent, old yet reborn. From the Suriname river's flow to Paramaribo's vibrant streets, it's a nation that invites you to taste its roti, dance its kaseko, and dream its dreams. This is Suriname, where every jungle hums a story, every struggle sparks hope, and every moment pulses with life.